computer. Okay. Thank you for the suggestion, David.
You're welcome.
So, Paul, how have you been, and how would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, I've been just excellent. Thank you very much. And I don't know, how do I introduce myself? I'm an old fart who just enjoys meeting people with great ideas. How's that?
Well, I can relate to that. I always thought of the term that you used, old fart, as being a masculine term. So what is the feminine term for that?
A fartess?
I don't know. Anyway, welcome here, Paul. And I just realized that I haven't done my introductions. So greetings, this is LowellAnn, and I love supporting retired third agers who are experiencing overwhelm, uncertainty, and procrastination as they take the first steps toward creating their online business. With my solopreneur coaching service, you can choose the level of support that makes the most sense to you. Done by you, done with you, done for you. So to find out more, please visit my website, LowellAnn.com. So we some of you may be sort of curious about what brought this topic up. And so what I did was I prepared a little presentation, not a long one, but just to explain some of that. And David is going to share his screen so that we can. There. So the topic, how to stay inspired. We need to be inspired in order to get the drive and the motivation. So that is basically what we're going to talk about. And what really raised this question was conversations with colleagues and friends over the last while. In my intro, I sort of said something about being distracted by vacation and holidays and all of that, and how to get back to business. And I've been hearing a lot of people on the radio talk about September, early after Labor Day, is more of a year beginning than July or January is. A lot of people in days gone by have thought about January as being a new year and new resolutions and plans. But it seems that a lot of people think of September in the same way. So, and I would say also that after being so isolated and all of the activities that we're used to doing that were ended, but we're starting to see a number of things that are coming back now. But I think that many of us are beginning to notice that all the systems seem to have fallen apart. And we're spending a lot of time fixing things. Dave and I had a very long conversation yesterday about and sharing our individual experiences of trying to fix systems and things that are not working the way they should be, and I think also, Dave, you suggested this morning that a lot of platforms that we're used to using and so forth. There are a lot of changes are being made, and the changes are being made not for the benefit of the viewer, but for the benefit of the company. And so I have noticed in myself and in many of my colleagues and friends that there's a huge rise in frustration. And who feels motivated and inspired? Who feels inspiration from frustration? Well, maybe sometimes, I don't know. So that's what brought it on. So I guess the other question is, you can move on a couple of slides, Dave. The question is, no, back one. The question is why? Why is inspiration important to us? And I guess the answer I would have, and I would ask you all the same question: why is inspiration important to you? We need we need to get our business moving, our businesses. Those of us that have a business. Are there other reasons? Anybody else in the group want to share why inspiration might be important to us? Anybody? Dave?
Yeah, excuse me. Inspiration is important to me to keep me functioning and working. I use it to power my my work, so that I maintain and keep my work ethic, and I maintain and keep going on what I should be working on. When I tend to lose my inspiration, I find myself wandering and going down rabbit holes and going, the next shiny object that's out there, and I'm in that mode again, but I'm really forcing myself not to go down that rabbit hole, to really make sound decisions, instead of just, well, this sounds really great and wonderful, I'm going to make $1 million in 10 minutes worth of work and a day and whatnot, not going down that hole. And I'm exaggerating it,
Yeah, I know you are.
Usually the ones that give me as you can make a reasonable income, with little or no work. Those are the ones that get me. It's not the $1 million ones, because I know better than that. But it's the ones that sound reasonable and sound like, okay, well, I can make $1,000 a month. Well, okay. So, but that's what I use my inspiration for.
Wow. So that's why it's important, right? Anybody else? Fred?
I found it. I was looking for the unmute button on my screen. Well, I think it's got a lot to do with why you get up in the morning and what you do during the day. And you can then judge, say, is this helping me meet some of the goals and the reason why you have those goals? It's the inspiration. Say, what do you expect from the end results if you can make this happen, what you're trying to make happen? And it's not always about money. I mean, money is an important thing, but there's other reasons as well. And if you can see yourself progressing or doing something that will help you progress in there, then you feel, more comfortable with your life and sort of content and not so frustrated, because that's what you're talking about. You find, oh, woe is me, I'm not getting anything done. It's the same old. But if you have something that inspires you, it can make your life a lot more pleasant in many ways without all that frustration, even though it might take a lot, working through a lot of frustration that, as Dave said, it's not just a few minutes and you become a multimillionaire. Those shiny things, it often takes. So it keeps you going if you're inspired. Say, yeah, I can see this maybe happening, and if it does, then I'll be happy that I've managed whatever it was. And whatever it was can be anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be, could be losing weight or getting fit or climbing the highest mountains in your area or whatever, you know, those say, yeah, I managed it. So yeah, it made a big impact on your life.
Right. So the next slide actually talks about what is inspiration. I began to realize that I had a vague idea as to what it was, and so I looked it up, basically. So the definition of inspiration is it's the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. Another one was it arouses the mind and emotions, and another one was it creates enthusiasm and motivation. So I think we were all, just by what everybody had to say, sort of sounded like we were all on the same page, but I just wanted to make sure I was clear. So the next question is, what triggers it? So this was my brainstorm, and some of you may also have something you might want to add. Community, being together with people, interacting with people, etc., was the top one on my list. And curiosity was another one. I wonder how that works, or I wonder what would happen if I did that sort of thing. Play, if you're having fun, sometimes gives us inspiration. Empathy for others and what's going on with them, etc. Experimenting, playing around. I guess playing and experimenting can sometimes be the same thing, or different aspects of the same thing. Being open to observation of what brings something on, and seeing possibilities or recognizing possibilities brings that on. And I think, Dave, you and I both agreed on this one, getting positive results from something that we're doing. If you're just slogging along and getting no results from something, it's very easy to lose your inspiration and your motivation. So does anybody, do you think I've covered all of the possibilities? Dave?
Don't mean to monopolize, but there's a couple ways that I get inspiration. One is working on problems in the back of my mind as I'm working on other things, and getting that aha moment. Okay, I figured it out. It's like this morning when I figured out what our the solution to our problem. There was a aha moment as I was, working on it and working on other things at the same time. I seem to like to do one or two or three things at the same time, and get that inspiration in when I get a little bit calmer and I'm working on something that's just kind of repetitious. And then all of a sudden my brain comes up with the solution to the problem. So that's one of the things.
So, but that positive result is just by way of acknowledgement, Dave and I spent quite a long time trying to solve a problem in WordPress yesterday, as did Vivek and I. I mean, and it was a simple problem that we all knew that it was where it used to be, and it wasn't there anymore. And I mean, I could list off the three places that thing used to be, and it wasn't there anymore. And we couldn't find it. We couldn't find it. We couldn't. And Dave just stumbled on it this morning.
Yep.
So,
And it was.
and so now he feels really motivated.
It's great when you solve a problem like that. It really
Yeah.
gives you a lot of inspiration. But I'm also talking about stuff that doesn't necessarily come up and work. I'm right now struggling with, okay, I'm at a crossroads with my my website building and my blogging and real estate. I don't mind doing real estate, but it's not my love. My love is doing websites and making websites. That's what I really, really like to do, but I'm not making the money I need to make to be able to stay in that business. I can't spend 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week doing something that's giving me nothing back.
Right.
So I'm at a crossroads and I got to figure out, how do I make more money, or do I go and just dive into full-time real estate and kind of give up on the websites? I feel I'm really good at what I do with the websites. I've gotten nothing but positive feedback on, stuff and how quickly I can get it done and how it looks when it's done and whatnot, but I'm not getting the clients.
I got an idea for you, several ideas for you.
But okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but let's keep on our topic right now,
Yeah.
and maybe return to that, those ideas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a quick side note to Dave. If you want to reach out to me, I know how you can get the clients. I know what to do to help you. So if let me just put my email in the chat. You can write to me and we can talk.
Okay.
Right on. Having conversations of consequence can be an antidote for feeling socially distanced, and social engagement keeps us healthy. That came out of another presentation that I was working on, and I just felt that when we talk about the fact that everything's shut down and so forth, I think the reason a lot of us are feeling isolated and all of that, I mean, that this is an acknowledgement. This is what makes us feel that way. So that's the next slide, David. Yeah. And so the next slide was more sort of about what we could do about it. So I guess one of the things that we need to do is give ourselves some permission to think about it and take care of ourselves, and recognizing that lack of inspiration really is an emotional thing, and so we need to take care of that. And so it was, I was giving some thought to what does taking care of oneself involve? And maybe it means just totally withdrawing from everything. And maybe what would you call it? A personal sabbatical or something along that line.
It's actually really important. It's, to do with what's going on. I mean, to put it in perspective, like about 17 years ago, I made the decision to not watch TV, listen to the radio, or read the newspaper. And it's only because of what happened in the world in the last couple and some years that I wound up getting back into media a lot more. But I've also realized more and more, time to unplug.
Yeah.
A ridiculous amount of bad news. It's not helpful. What I'm finding is that the same people are saying the same things over and over. It feels like a broken record.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, one of my colleagues in Australia just recently announced he's pulling out from everything. And I thought, yep. And I've done that to a large degree too. I mean, I'm only a part of a couple of things now, but I'm looking at it and just going, it's the same crap every single day. It's not helping.
Yeah.
It doesn't add to my health or my well-being. And pulling back from all these things, I mean, an interesting side effect of the whole pandemic has been groups like this, situations like this, which has been a really nice antidote in many ways.
Yes.
I've found, much to my surprise, that I'm far more efficient on calls like this than I ever would have been in person. And I find that I like it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
So that, yes, being, I mean, withdrawing completely is not, depending on what it is that we're doing, is not necessarily what we want to do 100% forever. But I
no,
think,
of course not.
I think there's value in just unplugging and taking time and to do some reflecting and to do some thinking, and to be asking ourselves, what word gives me some energy today? Where does is there anything that gives me energy that I can think of right now? And another question would be something like, what is a capability that I have, that I've discovered in myself, and what's another one, and so forth. And then you know, I'm also thinking that there's another question that should be in this list, and that is, what do I really want to do? What do I really want? And why do I want it? I mean, these are all things that personal journaling are, you know, there's a variety of ways to get at these things. But I've come to the conclusion that when you're feeling that down, it's time to really unplug and take the time to do that reflection about yourself, and about, you know, what is making me feel this way, or not feel, whatever. Yeah. So then, as time goes on, if we can figure out what is useful, then yes, you know, the other might be, yeah, you're on the wrong slide, David. There, thank you.
There now?
Yes. So,
I went forward too fast.
yeah. So, yeah, so, but I guess the point number 4 there is really important, and that is to, once you've begun to have some realization as to what is causing this, and what kind of a change, you've got to put it into action. You've got to do something. And so that then I guess the question is now what is one step that I can take that will move me closer to that? So now you can move forward. It was uncanny. Maybe this is what happens on the internet when you're doing something. Suddenly this morning, what popped into my inbox out of LinkedIn, I think it was a piece that Richard Branson wrote. And I was quite fascinated by it because somebody had asked him, what words keep you centered and motivated when you wake up in the morning? And so he had 4 or 5 items, that phrases or words that he used. But as I was looking at his phrases and his explanations, there were some more action steps that I thought would might be useful to include in that personal sabbatical, and that was take a risk. Move out into something that is a risk, and recognizing that it's not going to be perfect and there will be mistakes, and to, you know, decide that you're going to move forward, and you're going to learn, and you're going to go into a new world from learning from the mistakes that you made when you took that risk. He talked about doing something that's really, really exciting. And he also included in that exciting as being also sort of connected to the first one, taking a risk. Exciting and risky, something that is going to create some stimulation for you. Oh, I see there's a real typo there. All the right letters in all the wrong order. Discover what you still need to learn. And that was a recognition that he was making about realizing that as life goes on, and I suppose we would talk about that as being a mindset, realizing that just regardless of our age and our level of experience, et cetera, we still don't know everything there is to know. And there's a whole lot more to be learned. And then also what is right and wonderful about life and work right now. And right now you read quite a bit online about people talking about gratitude. And they talk about it so much that I was reluctant to even put it there. But then I started to think, well, if there are some good things, it is important to recognize what they are. And the last item was branch out into something. Don't be afraid to branch out into something new. And I think that, you know, there are times when we have branched out, and it did bring on inspiration and so forth. So I'm kind of wondering, you can move on to the last slide, David. The question I have for everyone is, what word gives you energy today? Can you think of a word that will give you some energy, or that is giving you some energy right now? Any ideas? Paul.
I don't know that it's a word, but I think if you put some humor in your day, it sure goes a long way to sparking up your energy. I'm fortunate to have a whole group of old sales guys. I get just a pile of jokes every day. And so I usually start my day off with a good laugh, and then figuring out who could I send that on to that's going to get a good laugh today. So I think putting humor into your life goes a long way to inspire you as well.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. Wow. David?
I fixed it.
Yes.
That's the
yours.
inspiration for today. I fixed it.
Yes, yeah. For sure. And you have every right to feel that way. I mean, given the time and energy that I and two other people spent trying to solve that problem. So, David, you could sort of stop screen sharing now. So, Nathan, what's a word that would give you?
Yeah, there are actually two: adventure and exploration. And being an expat on the road, there's, if you're in a new place or a place where I am, where I still don't know it very well, there's plenty of that going on, and can be really great, really great.
I
Yeah.
like that. Adventure and
Yeah, well,
exploration.
adventure for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember years ago I was dating this one woman who was, we were having adventures, but some of them were really unpleasant. And she was saying, well, I thought adventure was only supposed to be good stuff. And I said, adventure includes everything, including all the bad stuff too. It's all part of the package. You can't have one without the other.
Well,
she
and
didn't
you
understand that.
you said exploration, and I was thinking
Yeah.
how I mean, exploration is kind of similar to experimentation, isn't it?
No, not really.
No?
Experimentation is, you're trying something new, but exploration is, you're looking, I would say, looking a field like exploration. You're really getting out into a place and saying, what's here? Whereas experimentation would be, well, let's try this and see if it works, or try
okay.
this and see if it breaks, which is what I would do in software all the time.
The common thing I saw between those two words was the unknown.
Yes. Well, yeah, with all three of them, adventure, exploration, adventure, it's all about the unknown.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Cool. So Fred, you had your hand up too. Now,
You're still muted, Fred. Maybe it's you.
It was that way. Yeah, I was having funny noises in the background, so I muted my mic. Yeah, I got used to this business of putting your hand up, when you have something to say, which brings you up to the top corner and then lowering your hand. So, but that aside, what is a word? Well, the first word I think is communication, because over the years, I remember decades ago trying to communicate with people and realize they weren't understanding what I was trying to say. This was when I was worked on the gold mines in South Africa. And we were talking often about safety, and people could die if you couldn't communicate with them what the safe way to do things. And I thought, well, communication is a big challenge. And then what Paul said also resonated, because I think in communication, you want to know what the message is. You got to know your audience, if you're getting through to them. Stories are one of the best ways to communicate. It's been well known that storytelling is how people remember and communicate. And humor, as Paul said, is also an element, because people then are open now to hear you. So humor can really open doors. So communication is one. Now, the second word that comes to mind is how. We're talking about inspiration, but the one thing I don't know if we really have pushed on, how do we get inspiration? And always when we have a topic or we're trying to make suggestion how, and I really don't know. I think Simon Sinek may be one source where he often talks about, I think it's being optimistic, because even when things aren't going well, even if things are terrible, if you're optimistic, then that helps you reach the goals, and you don't give up, and then you can be like Dave and say, I solved it, I found it, I did it. And then that's also inspiration. So how do you get inspiration? That's something that I would like to hear. What do you think inspires us? How do we get inspired? So that's the question I have. I really don't.
The one for that Dave and I both had was success at something. That is how positive results, getting a positive result is a how. Yeah. Paul.
And doing something different is also a way. For example, two things come to mind. One is walks. It's amazing to me when I go for a walk, how many things come into my mind that I've been trying to sort, that all of a sudden it's like, why didn't I think of that? And the other is in the shower. I don't know how many times good ideas have come to me in the shower. The challenge there, of course, is to get it down or tell it to your phone before you forget it.
I couldn't agree more. That's when answers to things always come to me in the shower. Yeah.
So just doing something different often is a way to get your inspiration up.
Yeah, well, and doing something different sort of goes with adventure.
Yeah.
And exploration.
And walking is positive because you're putting one step ahead of the other and you're going somewhere. So it's a very simple thing, but it seems to work.
Fred. You're muted, Fred.
I just want to thank Paul because those are simple things, but walking has been known to help people solve a lot of frustrations and issues. And sometimes walking with someone else, I've heard of people who are managers in their, big company and say, let's go for a walk. And it can be, so I think that's a great, talk about how, that's a great how, go for a walk, have a shower, do both. So that I thank Paul for that, because I think that's simple.
Shower with a friend.
Yeah. That's inspirational too. You never know. It's like, oh, thanks, Paul. But there's a laugh. There's a laugh. Thanks for that too.
Pre-pandemic, I always enjoyed walk and talks rather than meeting for coffee. So hopefully we'll get back to more of that.
So I might mention something that occurred for me because on my list was community. And I think you all know that I belong to a choir community. And it's been, a long time since we all got together face to face. We tried to keep it going using Zoom, etc. It just didn't work when it comes to singing. And however, I went to Denman Island and a music camp called Denman Sings. And we spent a whole week on Denman Island in the community center singing. And they were able to make the room we were singing in was a very large space. And they had all the doors and windows open, so there was air moving through. Consequently, nobody was wearing a mask or felt that they needed to wear a mask. And we sang and learned Beatles songs for a whole week. And we just came away feeling so inspired by singing and how we're all hoping that come the fall, there are there's 4 choirs that I'm aware of, and that various numbers of my friends have gone off to try out all these different choirs, and that's what they're doing, trying something new, trying something different, but still being in that sense of community, because what is it somebody said, being in harmony is very inspirational. Yeah. So harmonious singing brings about that feeling of that emotion of harmony as well. Yeah. So that was one of the things that I find important is community, very much so. And as I have thought about, for the summer, we've over the last while, we've only done this once a month. And I've been rethinking that a bit, because I feel, again, this sense of community, our being able to come together and share our ideas and our thoughts and so forth. So I am seriously considering going back to more frequently than a month, because it seems so long between our conversations. And I think maybe that was a mistake. I mean, we all got through COVID. And I know for me, I got through COVID partially because we were doing this. So I am giving some thought to that. So maybe after we stop recording, maybe we could talk about that if anybody feels like hanging around long enough to chat about that. So any final thoughts about inspiration from anyone?
I have to, just because it's tradition, but I really like the how to, and I think community is so important. Let's say you want to start running. Well, how do you get inspired? Meet a bunch of other people who are also running. If you want to learn
Exactly.
how to play music, if you want to, join a group, anything, even if you play cards, whatever it is, but then you meet like-minded people and then you talk about other things and find out what they're doing. And that's where inspiration comes from. So community is so important. And again, like Paul said, walking, because your mind then is off of all that other stuff that's cluttering it, and it clears up, and like he said, in the shower. So those are a couple of how-tos. I think that's very important. And but the group, I find a group of like-minded people, no matter what it is, even if it's a choir or you want to do something, that just go and explore. Just because you're on your own is not, you're not gonna, it's not easy on your own. You have other
No.
people. That's where inspiration can come from. Oh, they're doing that, I'll give that a try. And they'll encourage you. So that's where I think a lot of it comes from.
No kidding. And David, I think you had your hand going.
No, I'm just
No.
playing with my toy.
Oh.
Mm.
All right. So thank you all for attending, and I will sort of bring us to a close with a reminder that it's important to do what you love with passion. And I don't know just yet when the next one will be or what the topic will be as yet, but stay tuned for news on that one. And so I am going to do the outro now so that we can, I'll just have to watch that for a minute. And maybe I could stop the recording right now. I will do